Hello friends, Clage back today with another PGR guide for you, and it is time for us to talk about our brand new Nihil Annihilator Luna Oblivion, the first of her kind here on the global server, and the first of her kind still to this point on even the Chinese server. So Luna brings two notable firsts to Punishing Grey Raven, the first being her element, Nihil. Brand new elemental damage type, goes along the same vein as all the other elemental damage types, but it is unique to Luna. And she also brings our first Annihilator class, the brand new class brought in with this starred and snared patch. Basically, an Annihilator is more or less an attacker, but with a unique passive ability. How Luna works is that since she is the only Nihil damage dealer in the game currently, she is able to convert her teammates' elemental damage into Nihil damage. So what this means is that she has great team flexibility. You can take any tank and any amplifier to support her. Their damage will convert to her kind of damage, and that allows a lot of neat options in team building and flexibility. She, again, is a one-of-a-kind character. There is nothing like this. Nihil is very new. Even in the Chinese server, she is the only character specializing in doing this. So needless to say, Luna is a very important character and a very important new evolution in our gameplay for Punishing Grey Ravens. So we're going to go over all the good stuff, her equipment, her builds, recommendations on pulling, and I'll talk about her best teams and of course give combat demonstrations and all that good stuff. So let's just jump right into all the important things, starting with equipment. I am happy to say that Luna is very easy to build memory wise. She has exactly one memory set. You will be using her 4-piece signature set, Cleopatra. Increases her Nihil damage and increases her stat gain. We'll go over all the mechanics on skills and core passive and all that in the combat demonstration because it is very wordy. Curl wrote a novel on this girl's skills, and if I try and use all the proper nouns and all that, everybody's going to have their eyes gloss over and probably fall asleep watching this, so we'll keep it simple for now. But very simple, straightforward. For Cleopatra, 2-piece Kadi. Ideally, you're going to harmonize Luna with her signature weapon and turn that into 4 Cleopatra 4 Kadi. This is the only build you will ever need for this character. She is here to do damage. She does a lot of it, and her damage is almost entirely based around her core passive and especially her signature. For memory resonances, you're going to want to do signature on the bottom for all 6. Upper attack 15 with any other modifier is fine. Obviously, she is not physical. She can't use crit. But honestly, it doesn't matter what the other suffix is. Just get the 15 attack up top. You're good to go. This is all you need. No external memory sets. No swapping memory sets. Luna is here to hit hard, and she's quite good at it. So next, let's talk about Luna's weapon. So her 5-star is usable. If you are really hard up for black cards, can't afford to pull on the weapon right now, you can get away with using her 5-star weapon. You will still be able to play the character. However, it will be clunky. Very, very clunky in comparison. If you can at all afford it, it is highly, highly recommended to get her signature weapon, Reconstruction of Law. Not only does it boost attack by 10%, but it also gives the unique ability similar to Luna's original Dark Attacker frame. What it does is anytime you use a 3-ping or a matrix ping, the next ping will automatically be a 3-ping. So if the orb you use is a normal 3-ping, the next orbs will all light up in matrix, and I'll show that in the combat demonstration. But needless to say, this saves you a lot of time on orbs, and it saves you a lot of orb usage, and Luna needs her orbs. Much like Chu Shukra, Luna is very orb hungry. But unlike Chu Shukra, Luna is not a soloist, so we'll go over that once we get into that. But I strongly, strongly recommend you get her 6-star weapon. If nothing else, just for that modifier, but also, again, very importantly, 6-star weapon allows you to harmonize. Harmonizing the full 4-piece Kadi set is going to up your damage significantly. So prioritize her weapon above all other potential frivolous things you're looking to roll for right now. It is very important. It will make the character complete. As for her cub, if I can click on the right thing today. Guard Drake is nice to have. It does boost some damage. Obviously, you get access to the increase in elemental damage and the bonus when using the Cub's active skill. Unlike other characters, Luna does grouping just fine, and by grouping, I mean she just hits the entire flipping screen, so what are you worried about? Why group when you can just nuke everything? The Cub itself does not do active grouping, but again, it's not really necessary. If you are tight on funds, this is honestly a pretty easy skip. You can always try and get it later at the 80% rate up. But it is a nice little damage increase if you have the Cub tickets available. Luna, again, is the only one of her kind, so decking her out is not a bad investment by any stretch of the imagination. So, nice to have, but if you need to skip something of her main kit, I highly recommend the Cub being the first thing you cut from your expenses. I will go over a full pull and build recommendation thing, but suffice to say, honestly, the bare minimum for Luna should be double S. That should be the bare minimum for any new S rank. Pull one copy, get them to double S through the Phantom Pain Cage scars, and go from there. So, speaking of evolutions, I'm not going to go over all the skills because, again, that's just going to cause everyone to have their eyes glaze over, but let's talk evolutions and what they do. So, at S5, trigger QTEs when casting ult, pretty common. S5, this is almost universal for every character in the game. At double S, which again should be your goal bare minimum for using the character properly, when you cast ultimate, you will automatically trigger Matrix. That is a very nice buff to have. It smooths out rotation quite a bit. And then also some bonus damage when exiting out of her ult. Pretty nice to have. Again, this should be your bare minimum goal. Double S3 does increase the damage of her ult a little bit. And it does grant some extra stacks. This honestly is okay. This is not what I would call a super impressive double S3. It's not a game changer like it would be on, say, Karina Nashir. So if you're thinking, wow, I could maybe get to double S3 and get a little bit, you can, but I would not recommend it. I would only go beyond double S if you are willing to go the distance all the way to triple S. So triple S is a very notable damage increase. It's quite good. Basically, the number of her stacks in combat is doubled. She gains them twice as fast, and her ultimates get to do far more damage. This is probably the ideal stopping point if you're a spender. This feels very good. I can confirm that having the double stacks and the extra damage, stuff do be taking a lot of damage when you get to triple S. So if you're a spender, or if Luna is your best girl, you want to really kit her out, double or triple S is a perfectly fine stopping point for spending. If you want to go Giga Whale Narwhale on it, double S3 or triple S3, excuse me, increase the damage of the signatures. Triple S6, increase the damage of 3 pings, and triple S plus, increase her core passive damage. Pretty standard triple S upgrades here. These are all very superfluous. Again, unless you are full Giga Whale territory, absolutely no need to go this far. So that covers the basics on her skills, her evolutions, and her equipment. So we're going to go hop into the training mode so I can give you the lowdown on combat. So I'll see you over there. Alrighty, so let's start the combat demonstration for Luna. So we'll go through the bare basics real quick. Just like all characters, Luna has her basic attack string. You won't be using basic attack a lot. If you finish a full string, you will see down at the bottom here, it does slightly fill up her core passive gauge. This is not the ideal way to fill the gauge, but weaving in basics with Luna is not a bad idea. She is pretty orb hungry. Very similar to Chu, but unlike Chu, Luna is not a soloist. You will not be able to manage orbs in a way to keep her on the field long term. You will have to rotate her out if you want to play the character properly. But weaving in a basic here and there while doing your orbs is very handy. But don't worry too much about the basic attack. You're never going to want to finish this full string to build gauge. We have far, far, far better ways to deal with building gauge. So that covers the base attack. As you can see, when Luna is in base form outside of her ultimate mode, she only has yellow orbs. Similar to Chu before her, Luna does not care what type of orb she pings. only that she is making 3 pings. That is the only thing the character cares about. There is no doing a 3 ping in the single ping situation. You are always looking to do 3 pings with this character. But for the sake of argument, this is what her yellow orb looks like. She does a flip, causes a gravity well to come out. Pretty straightforward. You'll notice now all my orbs are matrix orbs thanks to the passive on her ultimate weapon. Doing any 3 ping makes the next 3 ping a matrix. There is no cooldown on this. It's just if you are currently not in matrix and you do a 3 ping, the next one is a matrix ping. This also works if you were to go into matrix here. We'll do this by triggering the ult. So now I'm back in matrix. If I 3 ping, the next one is also a matrix ping because I haven't gotten the passive bonus from the ultimate back to back. Basically, every time you don't get a free 3 ping out of using a 3 ping from the passive of the 6-star weapon, that will happen on the next instance, regardless of if it's a raw 3 ping or if it's a matrix ping. So let's reset here so we can get back to the basics. So yeah, orb-wise, Luna does not care. Color does not matter. Order does not matter. All we care about is that we are getting 3 pings out of the deal. So let's talk core passive and how her orbs work. So as we can see down here at the bottom of her gauge, completely grayed out. You see a number there at the left side. How Luna's core passive works is we want to build this gauge to full. And this is going to allow us to utilize a plunge attack. This is actually very similar to Luna's sister, Crimson Weave. Basically, you want to build stacks, use the plunge, that will prime the stacks, and they will be used to help power up the damage of our ultimate. So, if we go up and we use a 3 ping, you can see the gauge gets half full. We have 60 stacks to our name. Our orbs are now glowing matrix because of our passive on the weapon. So, if I 3 ping again, gauge is now fully full. And you see the stacks have increased. Once you get the gauge full, the next thing you want to do is do a press and hold basic attack and then release it. Luna goes into a plunge, does some AoE damage, and as you see down here, the gauge has emptied, and our stacks now are colored red instead of white. This means the stacks are primed and ready to be used to power up our ultimate. This also will give you enough damage, or enough signature energy to get into the first phase of her ultimate. So, once that's done, we can go into ult and go from there. Something important to note. My gauge says 300 here. If you are below SSS, the stat gauge max out at 300. If you are SSS or above, it can go all the way up to 600. These are functionally exactly the same because at SSS, you build these stacks twice as quickly to accommodate the fact that your gauge can go to a double the amount, 300 to 600. If you are below SSS, your stacks are going to stay at 300. There is functionally no difference. The only thing the bigger stack does is up the damage of your ultimate. So regardless of if you are SSS or below that, you will do her rotation and the stacks will function exactly the same way. So don't worry about the fact that my stacks are going to show up to 600 due to my Luna being SSS. So we've primed our stacks, we've emptied our original gauge, and now we can go into our ult form. So we're going to tap. It's very important. Tap ultimate. Do not hold it. We'll talk about hold ult later, but the ultimate version you're going to use 99.9% of the time is tap ultimate. So once we filled the gauge, done the plunge, we go into ultimate, and now we have a different core passive gauge, as you can see down in the bottom. Our stacks are there. So just like before, we want to fill this. We can fill it with halfway via 3 ping. So we 3 ping. We 3 ping again. Our gauge is now full. We have 420 stacks to our name. You will have half that if you're below SS. At this point, what you want to do again, press and hold basic attack. This uses all the stacks, powers this up. This should give you your full ult. You cast ultimate. And then there's rotation. We are back in regular form, ready to do 2 more 3 pings and do it all over again. That is the basis of Luna's rotation. It's very simple to remember. She is definitely not as complicated as Chushukra. Definitely not as execution intensive as Chushukra was. But basically, you're going to do a 3 ping, then do another 3 ping, then do press and hold basic attack and release it to do the plunge. Go into ultimate. 2 sets of 3 pings to fill the ultimate core passive gauge. Press and hold basic attack for the big nuke. As soon as that's over, cast your ultimate, and we're back to square one. So let's go through the whole rotation in order. I'm going to start from scratch. Also of note, the timing for the QTEs on this character. Once you get into the ultimate mode, once you do the press and hold basic attack where she puts her hand out, does the big nuke, that is when you want to call your Da Vinci QTEs. That will let you power up the damage of that attack, which hits very hard, but also maintain the buff long enough to get the damage on the ultimate as well. So I'll call that out when we get to it, but let's go through the whole rotation from scratch without a bring-in. So we go up, 3 ping, matrix ping, press hold release basic, do the plunge, go into ultimate, 3 ping, 3 ping, press and hold, QTEs now, cast hold. Done. There is your Luna Oblivion base rotation. If you are using the signature weapon, and especially with deadline timing, you can easily get two rotations out of this. That should be your goal. You'll want to occasionally be weaving in a basic now and again just to build yourself a little bit more orbs here and there. But the general rule of thumb is just 2-3 pings ult, 2-3 pings ult. Get your hold basics in there. Pretty straightforward. So let's go through this now with the proper rotation. And I'm actually going to do one quick check because I don't know if I put deadline timing back on her because I was doing pain cage demonstrations a minute ago. So let me double check that because that will actually make this smoother and hopefully make it so I don't have to re-record things because who wants to do that? That sounds like work. Okay, we do have DLT on. Good. Excellent. All right, so let us go in and do the whole deal like we're doing it for real. So this time I'm going to do a bring-in like you would do if you're doing any normal mode. The bring-in, like most characters, gives Luna a 3-ping. So she'll only need to do 1 3-ping to activate her core passive and be able to go into ult. So we go up close. We bring in. Gauge is half full. So we 3-ping. Hold release basic. Go into ult. I did it. I held ult for too long. You know what? I'm glad I did that. That's actually important. Again, if you learn anything from this little section, do not hold your ultimate button. Make sure you're tapping it. If you hold it, you go into a different ult. Again, we'll discuss that in a minute, but it is very niche. You're rarely going to use it. So, all right, one more time, but with feeling. So, we go in. Bring in gets us 3. Gauge is now full. Press and release. Tap ultimate. 3-ping. 3-ping. Press and hold. Call QTEs. Ultimate. Now we're back to base form, and we should be able to do again. So 3-ping. 3-ping. Ult. 3-ping. 3-ping. Press and hold basic. QTEs. Ult. That's it. That's your full Luna Oblivion rotation. You do 2 of those, and then it's time to swap out to whichever character will be your secondary field character, but that is how you do Luna's rotation. So, before I talk about the second ultimate mode, let's talk about some tips and tricks, some important things to help you out with playing Luna. Luna, like I said, is kind of a hybridization of her original Dark Attacker frame and her sister Crimson Weave. She does have some flexibility to alter her rotation slightly or change things up depending on what the situation is. She's quite good at adjusting for clearing out, say, a Warzone wave that's almost dead and you don't want to go into ult or stuff like that. But let's talk some minor nuances here. So, without doing a bring-in, I'm going to bring Luna on the field here. So, as we know, I showed you doing basic will slowly build the core passive gauge, a very unideal way to do it if you finish the full string. That obviously builds the gauge. We know 3 pings build the gauge, but another way she can do it is that before the gauge is full, if you press and hold basic attack, Luna goes into a charge stance and then does the plunge. This charge stance is unique in that it's a way to fill the gauge, albeit much slower than using 3 pings. But this also has an auto dodge built in. So if anything attacks you during this stance where you're holding basic, She will auto dodge. This also helps build some stacks depending on what evolution you have her at, so it can be useful. Ideally, you're never going to need to resort to this, but again, if a Warzone wave is like almost dead and you don't want to pop the ult just yet, you want to start the next wave off with it, it can be a useful thing to do. If you are in a dicey situation in a harder game mode and say you don't have anybody available to bring in, but you don't have any orbs right now because Luna's been on the field for a while, this is a good alternative way to get your core passive built up, get your signature energy, and go from there. So, that's one important thing to have in your back pocket. The next and probably more important thing to note is that Luna's orbs and her plunge attack are all animation cancelable. So, Luna's orb damage is not the key of her kit at all. Her orbs are there to build the core passive, get her into her ult. Her ult is where all the damage is. The hold, basic attack, and ult for the big shockwave where Luna puts her hand out, and then the actual ult itself, that's where all the meat of Luna's damage is. So, in a lot of situations, all you're going to want to do is get into ult as quickly as possible so you can do the big heavy hitter stuff and to get more time stop, obviously. So, how do we do this quicker? Well, simply put, we're going to cancel out all these orb animations. So if I just let an orb rock, obviously the whole animation plays out, right? What we can do instead is do our 3-ping, immediately hit dodge. This allows us to go into another 3-ping or basic. You can also cancel out the orb with a basic attack if you want, but you will have to see the gravity well go in. This is only really useful if you're trying to weave in to build orbs or you want to fit in the tiniest amount of basic damage for whatever reason. But ideally, what you're going to be doing is doing a 3-ping, dodge canceling, 3-ping, dodge canceling. Then, now our stacks are primed. We're ready to do the plunge attack. The plunge attack can be canceled by ultimate. So, what I'm going to do is do this. The second you see Luna go off the screen, you can mash on ult. So, didn't have to wait for the plunge. We're in there. Same thing applies to these orbs. We can do 3-ping, dodge, 3-ping, dodge, hold basic. We get to the big hitters way faster. This is a very important technique to learn. This speeds up Luna's rotation drastically. It also gets her damage up much quicker. Highly, highly recommended you practice animation canceling all of her orbs and the plunge attack. There, again, will be times where you want to let all that rock. Luna is a flexible character, a lot like playing Crimson Weave. It's going to depend on the situation, how much health an enemy has left. But if you are doing Pain Cage or a big Warzone wave and you are just trying to get through ult as fast as possible, time stop as quick as possible, this is what you're going to do. So let's show what it looks like in motion for the whole thing. This is what your rotation is going to strive to be for the vast majority of your playtime with Luna. So I'm going to do this and try and do it smoothly, but also narrate. So here we go. We're going to 3-ping, or we're going to bring Luna in, which causes 3-ping. We're going to immediately dodge cancel the animation. 3-ping, dodge cancel, do the plunge, cancel with ultimate. So, bring in dodge, 3-ping, dodge, hold basic, ultimate. 3-ping, dodge, 3-ping, dodge. Accidentally mashed 3-ping again, but that's fine. Hold basic, ultimate. And that is how you play Luna at maximum speed, just getting to ultimate. Let's do that one more time, hopefully without me mashing an extra button. But once more, for the sake of argument. So, bring in dodge, 3-ping dodge, release, ultimate, 3-ping dodge, 3-ping dodge, hold release, QTEs, ultimate. 3-ping dodge, release, cancel that with the ultimate. Build up a little bit so we have enough orbs here. 3-ping dodge. A little unlucky to not get it, but hold there. Pinging the correct orbs is very important so you get your double rotation out. But that is the ideal Luna rotation. Dodge cancel all your orbs. Ultimate cancel the plunge attack. Dodge cancel the orbs in ultimate, do your hold attack, call the QTEs, cast ult. There you go. You're playing Luna Oblivion. It's very rhythmic. It's very easy to get the hang of it once you've played her for a little bit. The big key with Luna is just making sure you have enough orbs. She does get orb hungry. Ideally, you're going to do 2 rotations. If you really, really want to mash basic attack a lot, weave in non-stop and slow down your trip between ultimates, you can technically get 3 full rotations with Luna if you have her signature weapon. I personally do not recommend this. I think it takes far too much time mashing basic to build up the extra orbs. And even if you're really on point, it can be very, very tight. I strongly recommend going for 2 full rotations of her ultimate and then swapping out to your other field member that you'll be using in the team. So that covers that stuff. Next, let's talk about the hold ultimate, the much less common version of the ultimate. So this mode is really only going to be useful in one specific situation, and that is wiping low health pain cage bosses. But how this works is you're going to get into the ult exactly the same way. So we would do our bring in, animation cancel, 3 ping, animation cancel. But now when we do the plunge and cancel it, what we're going to do is we're going to hold the ultimate. This causes a different ultimate animation. And now what happens in this is you can do basic attacks and build up these annihilation orbs. These are very similar to Luna's old frame, her dark attacker frame, where you can mash orbs as you do attack. As you can see, this keeps the gauge stocked up. And then you have your press and release basic. The problem is, the way this ultimate works, you're getting upfront damage on the hold and release basic attack in the ultimate mode, and losing a ton of damage on the actual ult itself. So you're only going to use this for really one situation, and that's nuking a pain cage boss. But let me show you what you're actually going to want to do if you need to use the hold ultimate mode. So, as you can see, when you do the hold ultimate, there's no orbs. You have to basic attack to create orbs. That doesn't matter. We don't care about making orbs in the hold ultimate mode. All we want to do is get into the hold ult, and then we're going to immediately hold basic attack. That's it. You're just going to immediately go into the big nuke. You're not going to worry about the annihilation orbs or any of that. So how that's going to look is very simple. So bring in, animation cancel, plunge, hold ult, and then immediately hold basic attack. Call your QTEs. Ping some annihilation orbs to build up enough for your ult. And then once you can ult, you go in. As you can see, it's much slower to get the energy for the ult. This is only used, again, to nuke a pain cage boss really quick. You don't need to worry about this mode 99.9% of the time. The only other time it is actually useful is if you are low on orbs, but you don't want to swap off Luna. You can go ahead and get into the ult by holding. And then since this generates orbs, this allows you to get a bunch of signature energy built up this way. Save your orbs by not 3-pinging. Then you come back out, and you'll be able to go back into the regular rotation. Again, this is not ideal. I don't recommend it. But for nuking a pain cage boss quickly, that mode does have merit. So, that is pretty much how the rotation works and how both ultimate works. All you really need to learn is the animation cancels. Getting into her regular ultimate, again, tap, don't hold ultimate. You'll be very sad. Make sure you're tapping. And then 2-3 pings, let the big nuke rock, call your GTEs, ultimate. Pretty straightforward, pretty simple. So, I do have some actual rotation combat demonstrations for you. But before we do that, real quick, let's go talk about team building and how Luna's teams work. So, Luna's ideal team, her best option available, and I'll just go in here so we can bring up teams, is going to be the fire team. Watanabe is the best tank in the game right now, and since Luna requires swapping off, she cannot solo efficiently because she will run out of orbs, as you saw. She wants a secondary DPS who can handle field time and do it well. Watanabe is perfect for this. He is the strongest tank in the game. So not only is he helping Luna shred Void and do that stuff quicker, but he also is a perfectly fine sub DPS to come on and put the pain on. So with that in mind, Liv also makes sense. We just bring the whole fire team over. Luna converts all their damage to nihil. Works out nice and simple. Couple quirks with this. If you are going to build the true meta team with the fire team plus Luna Oblivion, you are going to want to build a new memory set for Watanabe eventually. Instead of his DPS set that he's been using as the kind of fire DPS, since he is focused on a tank role now, what we're going to want is to swap over to 2 of his main memory set, Alphonse, and go to a 4-piece Shakespeare so that he can get the extra damage bonus increase and shred more resistance. This says shred fire resistance, but remember, Luna converts this into a into a nihil damage modifier. So this helps him shred bosses faster for Luna to get more damage in, and then harmonize with a 2-piece Kadi so that his signatures still do decent damage. Ideally, what you do is you get all of the lower memories set to class skill instead of his signature, because him shredding and using the tank skill is going to be far more important than doing his damage. As you can see, I'm still trying to get all my new memories resonated up. Once you have this new memory set build, you're pretty well set, because 2 patches from now, we are going to be getting our new fire attacker, Lucia Pyrath. That will also mean on the fire team itself, Watanabe wants to be in a more tank role instead of the main DPS. So this set is not just I have to build a second set because Luna. No, this will actually become Watanabe's go-to set for basically everything by the time we get to our 3rd global sync patch, probably in early to mid-May, or April, excuse me, early mid-April. So, if you have Watanabe, I highly recommend working on getting this set built up. It will pay you big-time dividends in the long run. In terms of amplifiers, Liv, again, works great if you already have her built for the fire team with a harmonized 4-piece Da Vinci, 2-piece Guinevere, 2-piece Einstein. That works great. She's a wonderful option with her leap skill. She is also a perfectly viable candidate to be your on-field alternate DPS if you do not have Watanabe available. If you do not have the fire team to build, just take your best tank and your best amplifier. Does not matter who it is. If your Alyssa Echo is triple S and well built, harmonized and everything, she works perfectly fine. If you don't have Watanabe, she can be your alternate on-field DPS and function just fine. Same for other tanks. You can, if you have a well-invested Karenina, you can bring her in. If you are still using Rosetta for the physical team, that is an option. Obviously, she doesn't have time stop, which isn't ideal. Chrome is getting replaced next month, so obviously not a big recommendation there, but Isla works as the amplifier. Basically, just take your 2 best supports, your best tank, your best amplifier, slap them on the team with Luna, you're good to go. Their elements do not have to match. You do not have to have a fire amplifier and a fire tank. You can have an ice amplifier and a fire tank. It does not matter. All of it's getting converted to nihil, so it truly does not matter in the long run. But this is your meta team if you can build it. Watanabe is just far and away the best tank for this character, and having Liv just makes everything smooth out. But again, take your best options available to you. So, all that said, before I get into the Warzone and Pain Cage demonstrations, should you pull and build Luna Oblivion? Well, if it hasn't been obvious from the get-go here, yes, you should. This is the most irreplaceable character in the game, even to date, on the Chinese server as of this recording. She is the nihil element. She is the one who converts other characters to nihil element. This character is not replaceable. Flat out, Luna Void is not... Luna Void, I did it again. Luna Oblivion, nihil, is not replaceable. You want this character, do whatever it takes to get yourself 1 copy from the gacha, and then get her double S with Pain Cage Skulls. If you can't afford the weapon right now, it's okay. She'll be a little clunky, but you can make it work. You'll just have to do single rotations instead of double rotations. Once you can afford the weapon, highly recommended. Again, get it harmonized, get her double 4-piece set going, and you'll be good to go. But if you can help it in any way, shape, or form, do not skip Luna. This will be the hardest hit to your account you can possibly take. If you skip her, you will not be able to handle the nihil stages, and we'll show why in the combat demonstration. But it suffice to say, Yes, get Luna, build Luna. She is incredible. She is the best character for nuking non-elemental weak paint case bosses, as I'll show you here in a second. You will want this. You will want this tool in your kit. She is incredibly strong. So, yeah, get her to double S, do the thing. But let me go ahead and queue up some Warzone and package demonstrations so we can see everything in fast motion, and I'll talk about basic tips and tricks, so I'll be right back with you. All right, so I have our first Nihil Warzone demonstration coming up here, so we'll get into the start here, and then I'm going to do a quick pause for a couple minor notes on Warzone. So, up at the top here, you can see the Nihil bar. As I mentioned earlier, this is kind of similar to the Uniframe break bar. The big difference is once this bar is broken, you don't get to just execute the unit like a Uniframe does. That would be a little broken for this character. Trust me, she doesn't need it. But basically how this works is as you shred this Nihil bar, once it is gone, the enemy develops a massively lowered resistance to all elemental damage, including Nihil, and since Luna's passive converts everyone's damage to Nihil, they basically have paper mache defense once this bar is broke, and they get absolutely shredded by the rest of your team. So, important thing for Warzone, you are actually going to bring in, if you're using the meta team, you're going to bring in Watanabe first to clear out the early waves. This sets up Luna more nicely to deal with the bigger ones, especially in this case, since Nihil is the single enemy mode. You can let Watanabe clear the first 3 waves, and then Luna gets to start on the first big boss wave, which helps speed things up. So we bring in Watanabe, we do a single rotation to start. Out the gate, you're only going to do 1 ultimate rotation with him. Once we get into the actual rotation, you'll be doing 2. But now we bring in Luna, animation cancel, plunge, ultimate, 3-ping, animation cancel, hold to attack, nuke the boss off the face of the planet, nuke this wave before it's even on the screen, and then go into our second rotation. Animation cancel, ult, build up 1 more orb, animation cancel, hold to attack, call the QTEs in, and nuke another wave, and now we're back to Watanabe. That's it. This is how you Warzone. Each character does 2 rotations if you're playing the meta team, and you go from there. If you do not have Watanabe, if you are using a less DPS-centric tank, you will likely want to use your amplifier as your sub DPS as opposed to your tank. If you have a leaped Vera Garnet, she can be an option for this as well. But whoever your best secondary damage dealer is, that's who you'll swap out with Luna instead. Watanabe just complements her so well because obviously he does some of the best damage in the game right now as a newer unit. But the big thing that complements Luna in this case is that 2 rotations of Watanabe is basically exactly on time to bring Luna in off cooldown. So it just smooths everything out, makes your rotations line up almost exactly where you would want them, and just really makes things simple. So if you don't have Watanabe, whenever your next chance to get him on 100% rate up is available, I definitely recommend it. He makes Luna so much stronger. But your rotation will vary. Again, if you're not using the meta team, if your amplifier is different, just use your best options. And again, Luna is flexible. You know, you might get a war zone, you might have a wave down to almost nothing, and just be like, maybe I should go into the hold ult and just save some orbs, kill them that way, and then move on to the next wave. These are all options available to you. She feels great to play. You kind of get in a bit of a trance once you get going in Warzone because it's just 2 rotations, swap. 2 rotations, swap. Feels very, very, very smooth to play once you get going. Took me a little bit, as it does with all the characters, but I think she's much easier to pick up and understand than Chu was in general. She also is not nearly as prone to interruption as Chu is, which is a nice bonus to have. But I wanted to make sure I could truly do good Warzone runs and feel like I truly have a feel for the character before I start making a guide on it. I guess that's the fighting game player, fighting game commentator in me. I'm just not comfortable trying to tell you all how to play your brand new character if I can't personally play the character well yet. So this is why these guides take a little bit longer to get out sometimes. I just want to make sure I'm doing things right and can give you guys proper information, tips, and tricks so that you can play the character better as well. So I'm still perfecting stuff. I'm far from feeling like I have the character down to a T just yet, but once I started getting into the rhythm of rotation, she feels very, very good to play. I'm a big fan of this character, and as you can see, she just hits like a dump truck, man. This character does so much damage. She is now the go-to character for non-elemental weak pain cage bosses, which is really nice. She is going to do very bad things to Shark Sphere and all the elemental bosses. So yeah, that does the Warzone demonstration. Feel free to pause any part of that, watch it in slow-mo, get a better feel for it. But let me demonstrate a couple pain cage things real quick so we can show the hold ultimate situation, and that should wrap up this guide. So I'll be right back. Okay, so I've gone into the outliers of PPC here. We have Old Shark Spear, who is not weak to any particular element. So I just want to show you what happens when you use the hold ultimate. So again, same exact rotation as before. We're going to bring Luna in. As you can see, the gauge is already half full. Then we're going to do a 3-ping animation, cancel it, do the plunge, and then hold the ultimate and immediately hold basic attacks. So do the thing, plunge, ultimate, hold down the button called QTEs immediately. Bye. Gone. Over. Peace. Have a nice day. That was hell difficulty Shark. Now, granted, Old Shark Spear is old and doesn't have a lot of health and is definitely a lower health value than more modern pain cage bosses. But as you can see, for bosses that can't handle the nihil damage, this is all you need to do. This is where that hold ultimate comes in very, very handy. So one more time. I also have a couple more examples to show, but get into the ult, hold down that basic button called the QTEs, destroyed. Nice, simple, easy. So let me show you exactly where this falls and why this only works on non-elemental bosses and lower health bosses. So let me queue up another video here. Alrighty, for this next example, I've went and gotten Machiavelli, the old Ice Weak pain cage boss. Just want to show you that against bosses that are actually weak against a specific element, you don't get quite the same mileage out of the hold to ultimate. So if we go in, animation cancel, get into our ult, immediately hold down the attack, call in our QTEs, you'll see Machiavelli still has 8 bars to his name. So now we're forced to spam Annihilation, Orbs, and basic attack to build up enough for ult. This gets us into our ult, and then he dies. Don't remember the exact score I got here, but as you can see, notably slower because we're not using an ice character, but that doesn't mean that Luna can't shred elemental weak bosses. So 346, I mean, good. It's a good score, don't get me wrong. But again, an old boss, it's not really a fair assessment, all things considered. But let me show you what it looks like if we use an actual real rotation against an element. All right, so for this final example here, going to show you the regular rotation. So just like we've been doing before, bring Luna in, 3-ping, do the plunge, go into ult, do 2 more 3-pings, hold attack, do the ult, and I think you'll see this is notably faster than last time. So if you lack a specific element right now, if you're a newer player but you have Luna, Luna will take care of your pain cage problems for a little bit. So as you can see, we do the thing, we call ult. Oh look, he gone. Bye. This character is so silly, but in a good way. Luna is now she is the queen of the pain cage. She is very, very, very good at what she does. She will serve you very well. Do note that there is no nihil weak pain cage boss. Those don't exist. But they don't need to, because we have plenty of non-elemental weak bosses, including some of the most obnoxious ones. Hamlet, Dark Shark Spear are all notoriously kind of obnoxious pain cage bosses to get quick times on. Luna will solve that problem. She'll fix it. Don't fret that. She will in fact fix it. Obviously, you do have to make some choices if there is a Fire Week boss and a non-elemental boss. You'll have to consider how you want to build your team and your loadout and stuff. But in general, I hope I've done a decent job of explaining why Luna is incredibly important to building a healthy account right now. This character goes real hard and she hits even harder. So hopefully that covers everything. If you have any questions, need further explanation on any of Luna's mechanics or any advice, feel free to let me know. I'm more than happy to help out. Just leave those in the comments down below. And I will have some other stuff coming down the pipe very soon. Probably talk about the S rank selector we have if you finish the event missions. And I would also like to do guides on our 2 new A ranks as well as some combat demos for them. So not sure my exact upload schedule. I'm still fighting with my ISP, unfortunately. And I also leave next week for Chicago for 4 days to go to Frosty Faustings to do commentary for Guilty Gear. So, but I will keep the videos rolling. Thank you so much also so far for the support and interaction. I am honestly shocked how much traction these videos are getting. PGR is a pretty niche game, all things considered, especially against the juggernauts of the gacha world. So seeing the same amount of views on these and interactions as I would get on some average Guilty Gear videos is a incredibly welcome surprise. So thank you so much for that. If you enjoy PGR, you want to keep learning more about it, feel free to stick around the channel. You can do the like, subscribe, all that fun stuff if you care to. But that's going to do it for this guide. Let me know if you have any questions. Hopefully this helps you out. And I will see you all in the next one. Enjoy the Luna Oblivion damage. It is a good time. Y'all stay safe, stay warm, and I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.